Hello again, this is Daron Hall, Pittsburg City Manager. Haven't talked to you in a while, so I just wanted to take a moment and touch on some things going on in the community with regard to the pandemic and the local economy and the city operations, and give you a chance to hear from the city once more before the year is over. Obviously 2020 has been a huge challenge for all of us personally, and the city's no different. In March we had our first reported case of COVID-19, and here we are heading into December. We've got over 2,000 cases and unfortunately 18 deaths. So this has taken us all by surprise. As you know, none of us started the year thinking that we'd be dealing with this, but here we are. So I just wanted to give you an update about how we've dealt with it, what's in front of us, and some good news about locally where we are. On an unprecedented level, we've had collaboration between our community members, the elected officials in the cities and the county, at the school districts. Our healthcare officials have all come together. They do regular meetings. They make sure everybody's on the same page with the idea that we have to keep our kids safe in school. We need to keep our businesses open, and that includes City Hall. Obviously, we are a 24/7 shop, so police and fire, utilities are always there. When the phone rings, they respond. The rest of us, although some of our buildings have been closed, we have remained open. We're in here by appointment usually, and we've done a lot with technology to try to make sure that if you need to pay a bill, if you need to see somebody at the city, you can use the online services, you can use the telephone. We've expanded all of our resources to be able to take phone calls, and we've also bought a kiosk that we're going to be putting in that'll allow us to take bills and drive-through manner here at City Hall. It'll be bilingual. It will always give you a receipt. So I think we've done a lot to make sure that we are keeping our employees safe for the meantime, but we're also being in a situation where we can allow you to do your business, whatever it is at the city, and not feel like that's hampered. Accomplishments, you know, it's always hard to talk about accomplishments during a pandemic. There's so many businesses struggling. There's so many individuals struggling. But I do want to bring forth a couple of things about our economy that set us apart. We're not a huge metropolitan area, and for that reason, we've seen some really interesting things that I've seen around the state. The smaller communities, the sales tax is still strong. Our sales tax is important because it funds our public safety, it funds our economic development, and it funds our streets. Those are really the big programs. And so to have a strong sales tax means that with everything else going on, you're not going to see a limit in those services. Our sales tax is currently up about 3%, which is over the first 11 months of 2020 compared to the first 11 months of 2019. So that means those services are continuing to be funded, and we'll continue to put new pavement out there as the weather permits, take care of those roads, and do everything else that we need to. The other thing is unemployment. Unemployment's about 4.6%, which is trending below the state and the national average. That's a big deal. That means that most people that are looking for work are getting it. So we feel really good about that number, and that's attributable to the businesses staying open. And more specifically, something we don't talk about a lot is manufacturing. There's a lot of custom manufacturing in Pittsburgh. That's really what makes us tick. And the manufacturers are hiring people. They have expansions planned. They're doing everything they can, and I think some of them are having some banner years just based on the economy regionally and in the state. So we're very thankful for that. The best way to make sure that our community functions is to make sure that our people that live here have nice paying jobs. The last thing I want to talk about is just the health updates. I mentioned it at the beginning. Obviously, 18 deaths is too many, and hopefully we can keep that number down. We're going to try to do everything we can. I think there's a little disconnect between the daily numbers of what's going on with the virus in our community and the expectation and understanding from the community about what's really going on. So we've been working with the county health officers. We've been working with the communication people in the community. And every couple of days, we're going to try to send out an update that's very broad at a high level that just says basically how many cases there are. I think right now there's about 387 or 390 cases, active cases of COVID in the county. We'll also put out the number about how many people are on quarantine. And we realize that quarantine is changing. The CDC has given us new recommendations on how long a quarantine will be, so that number will probably change. And then finally, I think maybe most importantly, what's the condition at the hospital? There's only so many beds. The hospital is only as big as it is. We won't give a ton of detail. We don't want to, freak anybody out and make them think if they're sick they can't go to the hospital. But I think it will really help the community understand what those health providers are going through, because as we all know, with everything else going on and everybody that's struggling, the one constant is that on a daily basis, those healthcare providers are really struggling. And I think the community needs to understand what kind of pressure they're under on a day-to-day basis. Because when the numbers do start to go down, sometimes it's hard to get that message out. And I think the community deserves to know exactly where we stand. Finally, I just want to say thank you. It's been a ridiculous 2020. Nothing I could have ever imagined. The community has really stepped up. We're in such a great place. I don't know if it's because of our size or because of our location, but I think it's a combination of both. But I think what really stands out is the people that live here and their commitment to persevering and to make sure that this isn't going to beat us. We're going to beat it, and we're going to address it as well as we can. And you're the reason for doing that. So thank you for supporting your local businesses. Please continue to do it as we move through the holiday season. More importantly, thank you for supporting one another. Thank you for keeping your chin up. God bless the 18 people that have lost their lives in our county. Let's hope that number doesn't go any higher. And I want to thank all of you for everything you do every day to make sure that we're going to get through this. We're going to continue to strive, and we're going to move forward together as we always have. So thanks for your time, and happy holidays.